Hey yo, we're rolling. Welcome to the Philosophical Showdown. A shout out and challenge to my academics and hood rat philosophizers alike. With me, your host from the East Coast, the militant mountain lion, the vulgar truth, the Jada man, Philosophicles. Today's inaugural topic is based around the concept of self, how it affects the way we perceive our surroundings, and how we interact with them. This video came about from a conversation my man Django and I had about sex and violence and how, if in any way, they are correlated with intelligence. And why the fuck violence and deviance is seemingly on the rise when we are supposed to be in the most peaceful and woke times in history. Are we? Now, my man Django's always asking me them crazy existential philosophical questions. We all got that one friend. I'm blessed to have a couple. Keep me on my toes. I often call him Django Thoreau or Django Attenborough, one of them get back to nature motherfuckers. And since he challenged me to respond with a video, here it is. Life, action, consequence, and we're rolling. From the rip, I have to say that intelligence at best is weakly correlated with things such as kindness, morality, and our sexual behaviors. I mean, take a look at the world around you. Doctors, lawyers, professors, politicians, even religious and spiritual leaders. All walks of life and levels of intelligence are convicted of violent crimes, from domestic violence to rape and murder, on a daily basis. For the majority of people, intelligence is merely used to rationalize and manipulate not only our external environment, but also our internal thoughts and outward behaviors, whether it be harmful to others or just ourselves. But if we are harmful to ourselves, we cannot expect to avoid being harmful to others, no matter how hard we try. Mindless and destructive behaviors are mindless and destructive behaviors. There will be consequences. Salute. And guess what? How we treat others, how we treat ourselves, it all falls upon our sense of self. Sure, many other things come into play on becoming who we are: prenatal development, genetic predisposition, etc. Yes. I'd be hard-pressed to disagree, but nurture is the most important factor in becoming who we are. Whether it be parental influences, peers, education, mother culture, or what have you. As the behaviorist John B. Watson said, "Give me a child and I can create any type of human." It's what we are taught and how we are treated. It's the narratives, the stories that we are told about ourselves and our surroundings that shape our internal dialogue, shapes who we become, how we see ourselves, and how we interact with our environment. This is a truth I learned both through academic studies and from the greatest teacher of all, fucking life. Tell you what, my own personal narrative, my sense of self, was all sorts of broken and corrupted from a very young age. Raised by a mentally ill and sadistic single mother, neglected and abused in every sense of the word. Constantly referred to as freak, monster, because of my developmental differences. Wasn't a day that went by she wouldn't remind me that she was ashamed of me and tell me that she should have swallowed instead of conceived. Not the type of things a small child should hear, but it is what it is. She told me she would stop me from being a freak and a retard even if she had to beat it out of me, and Lord knows she tried her hardest. I experienced things as a small child that I can't even talk about with adults because it makes them sick. Well, I've tried to talk to psychiatrists and therapists about it, but got tired of handing them tissues and telling them to take their time. Here you go, Doc. Take your time. I know it's a lot to process, Yeah, just blow. Even the best psychologists can only take their patients as far as they themselves have come. And my mind seems to be a rabbit hole in which most lose themselves trying to explore, which all of my exes can attest to. Sorry about that, girls. Anyway, somewhere in my late teens through my early 20s, all of the dark shit, the shadow material, the perversions of the id, whatever you want to call it, in philosophy, psychology, it really started to manifest itself. If I weren't out robbing drug dealers and fighting anyone and everyone I could, I was waking up in strange places, naked, confused, smelling like cheap perfume and Newports. My dick looking like a rainbow painted in 6 colors of lipstick. Some girl waking up next to me just as naked and confused, covered in some mysterious crusty stuff, wondering why she smells like bleach and Bisquick. Madonna me. I was a fucking mess. I mean, I still am, but I also used to be. It was bad. I was broken and toxic, and of course, all I attracted was other broken and toxic people. That is the way it goes, laws of attraction. It wasn't until my late 20s when I started to change that. I decided it was time I became responsible and accountable for myself and my behaviors. I began to see the patterns, the misguided truths behind my actions and my internal dialogue. I was a victim of Stockholm Syndrome, My code was broken, my purpose, my sense of self, my psyche, broken and corrupted. I became and identified with what I hated, with what hurt me, with what broke me. Classic Stockholm Syndrome. I was a monster living in a world where nothing mattered and abusive and destructive behaviors were the norm. I thought that my reckless abandon made me strong, that it empowered me in some way, but I eventually realized how weak and vulnerable I really was. I was lost. I lost control of deciding who I am. I handed that power over to other people who didn't give a fuck about what's best for me, didn't really actually care about me. Eventually, I realized what rock bottom really looks like, not financially, not a loss of people to surround myself with, but spiritual and psychological rock bottom. That's when I truly fucking broke. And after I broke and assessed what I had left, I started to wake the fuck up. I stopped allowing other people to dictate my value. I saw that I'm capable of so much love and creation, how we are all so much more than just things to be used and abused. Once we stop being who and what other people tell us we are, and start utilizing there it is, and start utilizing the true potential of our intelligence and self-awareness. Excuse me. There's really no limit to our love and creativity. That's it. Stop allowing other people to dictate who you are. See your potential. We have this intelligence and awareness to look inwards and outwards, but we choose not to. We can change that. We can change who we are. We can change our narrative. We can change our internal dialogue. That's it. Well, now that you've heard what I have to say, I'd very much like to see and hear responses from my peeps out there. Leave me some comments, or even better, drop some video replies. Because no one reads anymore. We like to watch stuff. Come on, admit I do. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Smash those buttons before I smash your face. Just kidding. No, you know I'll come and do it. No. And remember, keep it real and keep it classy. It's up to us to become more than what society and culture programs us to be. We owe it to ourselves and we owe it to each other. Peace.